laughing at birds.
I told you, don't fuck with me!
I'm Special Agent Jack Crawford of the FBI. This is Agent Zeller and Agent Price. We'd like to speak with you about career formations.
Would you like to come in?
When was the last time you saw Duncan Haller or Lloyd Rowe?
Whenever our last appointments were. I can check in my calendar if you want.
Sure.
Have you found them?
Yes, we have. Mr. Haller is deceased, and Mr. Rowe might as well be.
Poor Mr. Halloran.
What were you treating him for?
That man trudged from disease to disease. He had severe combined immunodeficiency. Life didn't seem to be going his way. I find that people don't get their own way because they often don't know themselves where that way leads them. Mr. Halloran, he couldn't envision the dignified end of life. So it's much nicer to die for him. To die in a meadow. A head full of bees. Have you tried the honey?
No.
Couldn't bring myself to either. It seemed too morbid.
So you left him in the field to die?
I brought him to the field to die. I didn't kill him. I quieted his mind so that he could die in peace.
And Mr. Rowe, you quieted his mind too.
Oh, him. He suffered crippling arthritis. After he was quieted, I saw him walk pain-free for the very first time in his life. I can't make pain go away, but I can make it so that it doesn't matter.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
I protected them. I protected these people from hopelessness. And that's beautiful.
All right, man.
Welcome.
Here we are. Hold on a second. I'll introduce you in the room in a moment. You can pop in for a second, but I don't know if you're going to want to stick around and get into what we're about to be doing. But in a minute, I got mine, well, in the chat right now, waiting on standby is Midnight. My boy, you guys, if you've been around the channel, but before heard the live stream, listened to the podcast, seen the clips on the Instagram at Laughing Birds Pod or on Twitter at Laughing Birds, you should know who that is. Outside of that, the program is going to be as follows this afternoon. It's going to be myself and my boy from England, BeeCeeHQ, and we are going to, oh, there he is right now. Okay, hold on. We are going to be watching a movie, or attempting to, depending on if we can find it, Ong Bok, which is a kung fu movie, and I thought we would talk a little bit about the influence of the general art and the culture, the differences between what his influence is being English, mine being American, and maybe Midnight, if he wants to get in on the conversation, being from Italy, immigrating to America. So this could be very well could be an interesting conversation. Let's see how it goes. Let me add these people in here. What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much. Hang on. Okay, I'm in. Nothing much. I figured I'd see what you were doing.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys are gonna do your own thing, like I said, I just wanted to pop in and say hello.
Well, you got time. I mean, we haven't started yet. So
yeah, I mean, I'll stay for a bit. But
okay.
Excuse me,
All right. Well, you do get yourself together. I'm gonna get a little bit into the program here for a minute. So I'm gonna mute you for a second, and then I'll unmute you as soon as I'm done, just so I can kind of keep control of everybody's mic and shit. I want this to flow as smoothly as possible because in the past I've fucked these up, and I want this to go well. So anyway, all right, Bean, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? I'm ready. I was meant to do some research on this, innit? As you know, I've got the DVD, but I just ain't got round to it. So I'm trying to just do a quick little fact checker, basically, to sort of just for those that haven't seen it before as well, just before we get into it, to just try and let them know like where it was made and stuff like that. But I've been slacking, I got to admit. So, but I'm good. I'm just trying to get it in quick so we can let people know like a little bit before we get into it.
Right. Well, we could stall because to be completely honest with you, I didn't really do it either. So this will be a good chance for us to brush up on it. From what I understand, you have this on DVD, right?
Yeah, but I nearly had a heart attack earlier because I opened the DVD up and I had a different DVD in the case, and I was like, "Nah, you joking me?" So luckily, I checked the case where what DVD was in the Ong Bok case. I checked the case for that, and luckily the Ong Bok DVD was in the other case. So, but I nearly had a heart attack because I would have been in your situation trying to find one online, and it's just a nightmare. So. Had a little scare earlier, but we're all right.
All right, cool. Fucking, that's a close call. I mean, honestly, I'm pretty upset. I went on Google and I looked up the movie. It said Amazon Prime had it. I'm currently doing a Prime trial membership right now. I go to look up the movie and it pops up, except they want $7 for me to rent it. Like, what the fuck am I gonna pay you?
I remember you saying about this recently.
Yeah, but all right, let me throw my boy back in the mix here, dude. Do you watch any kind of kung fu movies at all? Jackie Chan. I know you had the one with Jet Li. In it.
I love the one. The kung fu is interesting. It, is cool also. But I really loved the concept of the one. I just love the concept of this guy going around from universe to universe, killing his other selves and becoming powerful. Like
it's wild.
If it worked like that, shit, I'd be the first one doing that. I go around killing myself in other universes. Like, okay, give me.
I know exactly what you would do. You would go around, you wouldn't just kill the other versions of yourself. You would steal their brains so you could try to harvest their knowledge.
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of what happens anyway? Like, in a movie, like he kills them and he gains their power, which I guess is their knowledge also. But here's the irony of that. It's like okay, wasn't there the other guy who also became powerful? It's like he didn't need to kill anybody, right? So
but that's what happens though. The power goes to your head, and you wind up making decisions that are not necessary.
I meant more that what was it? I think it was Jackie Chan, and remind me who was in the movie again.
Well, the one was Jet Li. And Jackie Chan was in The Foreigner. He was in Rumble.
No. I know, but wasn't Jackie Chan and also the one?
No, you're thinking of Jason Statham, that British cat that was in some of the.
I can't let this slide. How did you get Jason Statham mixed up with Jackie Chan?
No.
I haven't seen that movie in a while, so I don't know. All I remember is Jet Li, the one. Okay. I do know that that in the movie, the two of them are supposed to be like twins of each other. Since they come from alternate universes. But
I will say though that Jason Statham can hang. I personally feel like he can hang with Jet Li and Jackie Chan as far as the stunts that he does and the way that he conducts himself. Also, Keanu Reeves, I think, is another great example of somebody that really puts the work in. You've seen John. If we can, I know I got Ong Bok pulled up here, and we're probably all saying it wrong. But look, that's what it is. I'll go into the description of what this movie is. But if we can divert for just a moment, if I could talk about something I know a little bit more about, and then we can segue back into this movie in a minute. But have either of you guys seen any of the John Wick films?
No. Yeah, I always wanted to get it. Always wanted to see it, but never got a chance.
You know what I mean? Did you see it?
I've seen number one. I'm just looking up because I've got one of them downloaded to check out. I think I've seen two as well, so I got to see number three.
I've seen every one of them, and I have to say, and I am an action nut, dude. I love suspense movies and action films, and like I can go down the list of fantastic movies. But honestly, if we're talking about this one, is in my top favorite of all times. I mean, this dude, he has the behind the scenes videos. I actually should look this up so you guys can see some of this, where Keanu Reeves is training in the gym.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
He's been like jiu-jitsu training for it.
Right, yeah. So he's done all that shit, dude, which I really appreciate it when somebody goes the extra mile and really puts in the effort to not pretend like they know. They're not learning choreography. They're actually putting it.
He's basically the stunt man, but like he's like you've seen other people in films get like 100% invested in their role, and he's probably gone beyond that with that role.
100%. Dude, I mean, that's the way. I honestly feel like that's if you're going to get into a culture thing. If I could compare it to music, I would say, in a sense, it's almost the way that Eminem kind of molded himself in an image around the culture of rap music. He did it in his own style, but rather than try to steal it and make it into something, taking it away from the culture it originally came from, blended it in and kind of made it his own. And I feel like Jason kind of did that.
If you ask some people, he completely stole it. I'm joking. Obviously, I'm just saying those people.
No, but there are people that really do believe that, though. Like, it's wild. I still hear guys saying that white people are guests in hip hop, and I mean, of course, to a degree, that's true because white people didn't start the culture. But let's not. Why are we gonna separate it at that? That's the kind of stupid.
But if somebody, if a black person wants to get into K-pop, do we say that's Korean pop? I don't know.
No, well, that's the point, though. It's only in the heavy music scene you get that, and that's rap and hip hop music, metal, and punk, dude. Those are the three music scenes that like you really have to be authentic if you're gonna get involved in whatever that is, because people will sniff out if you're a poser. And I know I'm using like 90s language here, but I mean, of course there are guys that are walking around now, Lil Wayne with his guitar and his skinny jeans and all that shit, but the people that are really about that life, dude, are not into that kind of shit. And it's a robbery of the it's
a poser. The word poser isn't exactly a 90s word. It's just a word that people use. You're fake, you're a poser, you're not real.
Right, but I mean, I'm saying though, dude, when was the last time you heard somebody say the word poser outside of me saying it right now since like the mid 90s? Probably not that often.
It hasn't come up in conversation. You're right, but it doesn't mean it's a 90s word.
That's true. It's vintage.
I've heard it a few times, but like I kind of agree with Sparkle. Like I hear it like quite a bit, not that often, but I wouldn't say it's like 90s. I get what you're saying. I get it from both sides.
Yeah, like I don't know, dude. I like a word like that though because it withstands the test of time, dude. You can still use it, and it's universal. No matter what we're talking about, you know exactly what I mean when I say that, which I really do.
Well, no, hold on. The more modern, the more modern word to use is hipster. Poser,
yeah,
hipster.
Yeah. That's the 2020 hipster is the 2020 reboot of poser.
Oh, no.
They got to remake everything.
Yeah, the word hipster has been around for like I don't know, 10 years,
That's
no
a
longer.
fact, Jack. That's a fact. Like about 10 years from now, there'd be a remixed version of Hipster. So that's pure fact.
I mean, honestly, I had no idea that it was around that long. I mean, granted, I don't have my finger on the pulse of what's new and trending. So, of course, I'm going to be out of the loop a little bit. But I only really started people talking about hipsters in the last 4 or 5 years, like as a mainstream household thing.
Yeah. But also they do say language evolves, and and that's not to get into this topic. Actually, I shouldn't bring up. I shouldn't bring up that topic because this is not the stream for it.
Well, that's all right. You know what? This is a good way. This is a good spot to just take the exit, and we'll jump right back over to the Ong Bok movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have a repeat. So we don't have. Wow, fucking hell!
I know you. So we don't have a repeat of what happened. Like I got you. Yeah.
So we don't have a repeat of what happened last time. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna go. So you don't bite my head off.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I don't want to be that guy. Who wants to be that fucking guy? I don't like that. I have to put it out there because I want people to know. I know my youth. If I could hold on for just one more second, let me get this out before you leave. But I know I throw a lot of shit out there, right? And I throw a lot of ideas out on the podcast platform and the YouTube channel and all that shit. But as much as I fuck around, I do try to maintain some level of professionalism, be it trying to be on time most of the time, even though occasionally I will fuck up once in a while. But every one of us in this room has done the exact same thing at one point, so I feel like we're all even. And it's just, I don't like to bite off anybody's head. It just is. I understand that if we were all sitting in a room together having a conversation, if you got up and walked out, it wouldn't be a big deal. We would all just be like, all right, you're leaving. All right, bye, see you later. But if we're in the middle of a conversation on the internet, it's kind of awkward to try to find a moment to jump in and say, all right, if everybody pay attention to me now, I'm leaving. Goodbye. That's annoying. So I understand why you would just want to go. But at the same time, I just want to be able to keep some type of a rhythm. So I appreciate you gracefully exiting, and so that I don't have to come off like a fucking maniac.
I have to make. Actually, no, we've met before, so
yeah.
I gotta make a joke about making a good impression with BC, but like, who the hell is this?
I mean, honestly, I think this is the first time that you guys have actually kind of had a little bit of a back and forth. So I think this is better as far as an introduction compared to the last time that you guys may have talked to each other. It was a little bit all over the place.
Well, having a speech impediment isn't exactly the best thing in the world.
Tell me about it. I know, dude. I have a speech impediment, but mine is on my wheels. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. But look,
hold on. Yeah. Dude, you don't have a speech impediment. Just hold up.
Yeah, are you joking? I went dead ass, dude. I went to speech therapy when I was in school. For real, that's real shit. Before I moved to Ocean Gate, I had to go through speech therapy for a few years.
How did that work? Like, what did they do?
There basically was a lady. This is how it went. They grabbed me and 2 other victims.
This is a kidnap story.
Yeah. There was a a kidnapping story. There was a middle-aged woman. If this were to happen in today's society, you would think that one of us got molested, but unfortunately, this lady wasn't cool enough to be sucking dick, so nothing happened. But she takes us out of our class. It's me and 2 other people, and they bring us into what I guess at one point was the boiler room. That really tiny room, like the janitor's closet. They have a little circle table in there, 3 plastic chairs, and this lady sits at the table with a cassette player, herself, me and the 2 other kids on the other side of the table, and she plays a word on the cassette player. She will say it, and then she has to go around the room, and then we have to say it. And if we don't say it right, we have to repeat it until we say the word properly, or nobody's going anywhere. Like, that was basically
so basically like It's basically like this. Dog. Right?
Basically,
Jesus
yes.
Christ.
No, except it wasn't that. It was more like dog. You know what I mean? Like, I see what you're saying, but dude, you got to fix that voice thing you're doing is no good. People can't understand you.
Yeah,
So that's
well,
really what it was.
but I feel like in that scenario, everybody would be pissed off at you because it's like, come on, get the word right, Jesus
Well,
Christ, get the word
that's
right.
the good thing about. I think that was the psychology behind bringing 3 kids because all of us are at the exact same level. Each of us are going to see the other one struggling, so we know that nobody is better than anybody else. Like, sure, we'll make fun of each other, but at the end of the day, we're still 3 stupid fucks in the back of a room somewhere getting kidnapped by a teacher.
Yeah, it's not even it's just like it's not it's not even just that. Like say if the if the teacher or whatever the hell said okay because you can't do this right, nobody gets milk and cookies, and everybody's like, oh.
Yeah, right. You don't get you. How are you gonna? What's he saying? Oh man, you can't have any pudding if you don't eat your meat. I think that's whatever. That's an old reference, dude. Anyway, let me get on with this fucking show. We're kind of like putting along here. Oh
Yeah, I'm gonna go because I said I was gonna go, and I'm gonna go. And BeeCeeHQ, HQBC. I don't know. Have a nice day.
Yeah, nice, man. I'll probably catch you on one of these again anyway.
Yep. Bye.
Okay, I think I'm back. I think I'm back in. I lost connection for a moment. I got greedy. I had too many things open at one time.
So are you going to read out a description of this, or because I've kind of read a little bit?
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna pull it up right now, and I'll put it up on the screen, and I'll enlarge it a little bit. I know you probably can't see it if you're looking at it on the computer, but
I've got it on my laptop up as well. I was just before we get into it as well. I was going to do some like promotion for this tonight, but I thought because it's like a tester one, we have to see how it goes, innit? So I think if it goes all right, like we'll know for next time to to promote it a bit more. I just thought I didn't want to like put it on Instagram and that we were doing it if there was a load of like difficulties and that we're going to go through just trying to fucking watch it.
yeah, no, I went through the same exact thing because I remember Demo's telling me the last time that we did a live stream. He's like, dude, you gotta announce your shit on social media because we don't always get notifications from YouTube or whatever. And I had my Instagram open right before we started, and I thought the same thing you did. I was about to plug it, and then I was like, you know what? But if it fucks up, I don't want to draw attention to it, and then it doesn't work. At least if we have the trial run, and this is the way we want to do it, if it works, next time we plug it, and we'll be able to, and we can cut promotional videos for it and all that shit. We'll come up with some good ideas to promote this thing. But you make a good point. So getting into the film quickly, just to go over a summary of what basically it's all about. It's known in the United States as Ong Bok. Probably saying that wrong, but that's what we're going with. The Thai Warrior is a 2003. Oh, so I put the wrong thing. Thai martial arts film directed by a person. I'm not even going to try to attempt to pronounce that name. If you want to give it a shot, feel free, dude, but I am not that brave.
What are we going for? The director?
Yeah. Oh, man.
I don't know. I was going to go for it, but I don't want to do it and then people get offended.
Yeah, exactly. That's That's a good point. So we'll just say, I don't know. We're just gonna say the director featured also a stunt choreography, and it stars somebody named Tony Ya. I assume that's how that's pronounced. Not 100% sure. Apparently, it's a 3-film series. One in 2003, the second installment in 2000.
Yo, I can't hear you, bro.
Just as you said that, I'm over here talking, and of course, everything cuts off.
Is that to do with the how you're running the stream?
Probably, it's probably because I have 3 tabs open, honestly. I have the chat open, which I'll close that for now because I have the side chat in StreamYard. It'll just take a little bit longer to pop up for me if somebody writes something in. But for the sake of keeping our show running smoothly, I'm just going to keep this open. So I'm not sure when it cut off, but this is a 3-movie series. One released in 2003, the second in 2008, and the third in 2010. Now, I know I mislabeled the video as Kung Fu and not Muay Thai, but that shows you just exactly how much it is that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I know we're supposed to do a watch along with this, but the problem here is I need to find this film.
I thought you already had it ready. I thought you had a link and everything.
I did. I thought that I did because I had it on Amazon, but then I found out that Amazon was charging for it. Now I have what looks to be, I'll give you the link to what I'm looking at, and you can load it up and tell me if it looks slightly familiar to you. I'll put it in the private chat over here because I don't want to say that I have a link for sure and this be number 2 or number 3 because it's labeled as it's the first one, but I'm not certain.
Is it English subs though? That's the problem.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for that.
Because when I was looking the other day for it, I found several, but none of them were English. I just got to close this window a sec to try this link.
All right, go ahead. I was gonna say, I think number 3. Did it freeze again? No, I think he said he had to close it. So let me pull that out. And I will stop screen sharing for a moment just to make this run a little bit smoother. Now, I'm pretty sure Netflix Ong Bok streaming. Let's see, where is it at? The Thai Warrior, Netflix. So you're telling me it's on Netflix. That's what you're telling me right now. Can't find the page. Maybe I need the Express VPN, bro, that everybody keeps talking about. Yeah, look, Amazon right here. Watch Ong Bok. Like, I would like to, but I'm not paying you. Amazon Smile. No, I don't want to donate. 7-day free trial. So it's $4 to rent it. Honestly, I'm going to see what Netflix has. I'm pretty sure they have one of them. Yeah, so what is number 2 on Netflix? Number 3? What the fuck? Every one of these pages says that I can't find it. So how do I find out where the fuck is it streaming? Is on Netflix. And I hear you. I just gotta pop back over to the other tab and let you back in. There you go.
Definitely on there, so you can watch it, but it's in, I'm assuming, Thai language because it's not English.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So we have 2 choices essentially. I'm pretty sure I have Netflix on the computer here. I can probably load it up if there's something on it. That iTunes website you had works well on a computer. Oh, Tubi. That's what it was. It was on fucking Tubi. I did have it. I forgot about that. Appreciate that, Demos. I'm a fucking idiot. I did have the goddamn movie. And I'm an ass. I forgot. So I'm opening up a new tab. I'm closing the other ones. I'm gonna see if I can get this thing to run. And I also want to close. Let me close this. Come on now. I don't know if the internet's going to cooperate with me today. So we might not be able to watch it. Even if we don't, though, we could still have the conversation. At least, I mean, this is why we were doing the trial run anyway. But I was going to say, so outside of this movie, right? We'll give it a few minutes and then I'll try it again. But outside of this movie, what was the first kung fu movie or any type of jujitsu, martial arts, whatever type of movie that you've seen? What was the first one that you can remember that you watched?
I want to say one of the Bruce Lee films, because I know my brother used to have like all of his films when I was growing up. But I think it probably was Karate Kid.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I'd say probably either Bruce Lee, like one of them, or like maybe Enter the Dragon as his most famous one. But probably Karate Kid.
I was saying, for me, now that you mention it, I think maybe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles might have been the first thing I ever seen. Possibly, if not that.
Yeah, I've seen that as well, but I can't remember if I saw that before Karate Kid, so I forgot about that too.
And I'm not, and that's plus in a way that's a cartoon. So does that really count? I mean, it does and it doesn't. So I would say it would be either the Karate Kid or the Three Ninjas. Would probably be.
I forgot about that as well. Is that their brothers?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that as well. And I was gonna say Jackie Chan as well, but I can't for the life of me remember like the first one I saw.
So outside of that, besides remembering the first one, I think the better question should probably be what was a movie that you watched that changed, I don't want to say that changed your perspective, but that you watched it and you were like, oh, okay, this is what this genre is. Like, what do you think that movie was for you?
See, the thing is, there's probably going to be loads that you might mention at some point. And I'll be like, yeah, that probably would have been it. But off the top of my head, like, in terms of, when you watch, like, whether it's sports or, like, fighting, like, and it makes you want to go out and do it, like, after you've, or even while you're still watching it.
Right.
Ninjas was probably that for me, because when I watched it, I was probably around the same age as one of them in the film. And you think, like, he's just like, he could be my friend. Like, if he can do it, I want to go out and do it. So I would say Three Ninjas in terms of giving you that, like, want to go out and do it straight away. But I get that with a lot of things. But I would say, off the top of my head, I'd say Three Ninjas.
Man.
But I think as well, because I was young when I first saw it, like, the fact that they were young as well, it made it seem more reachable.
Right, I definitely agree with that, because you look at that and you do it because you're identifying with them and you're like, well, wait a minute, they're doing. I think part of the appeal to this, contrary to popular belief, there was a time where every kid didn't sit in their house, get fat, and play video games. We used to be out in the street. Yeah, we used to be out in the fucking street, bro. Latchkey kids all day, but that's we can get into that later. Point being, these kids are in this movie and they're learning these moves and doing this shit and they're having fun and they don't have money. They're not driving around in expensive cars or playing with expensive toys. They are literally just doing shit by themselves. And that's something you could look at. You can go, no matter where you are in your life, if you're walking out of a mansion or if you were like me and you lived in a small apartment with your mom and your grandmother, you could go outside and you could still do this and enjoy it and have fun.
And I think what I like about martial arts in general as well is whether you're doing it like the training and that yourself or you're watching the films, like they're all pretty much based on like self-defense. Like when you really watch them films, yes, there might be like quite a lot of violence in them, but it's never really the person that's learning it is learning it to pick on someone. Like with Karate Kid, you get a bit of that, but the main character is focused on, it's about him taking classes to defend himself. And
right, but see,
I like that about martial arts in general, because it teaches you that you'd like to think that most people that do it so they can look after themselves, instead of abusing what they learn to then like pick on people. And
well, I mean, it does bother me when somebody watches a movie like that, saying, and I know I've referenced this movie 1,000 times, but let's take Rumble in the Bronx, for example, with Jackie Chan, right? That's one of my favorite movies ever, and arguably one of the best skillfully done movies to ever be made. In my personal opinion, sure, parts of it are dated. If you watched it now, you can see there's certain things where you go, but it holds up well enough that if they did a reboot of that film and did it exactly the way, with just updating minor details here and there, I think that movie would hold up. But when you watch a movie like that and somebody says, I don't like that, that's violent, what they're ignoring is the first half of the film where they're talking about, this is a skill that you learn and you have to have discipline. This is not, you're going to walk in here and we're going to teach you how to chop woods and bricks and now you can walk around and fuck people up. Like, no, if that's the way you're going to be, I'm not going to teach you. You have to be respected and you have to show respect. This is a power that you hold. You can't ignore that. But a lot of people don't have the patience to sit through the build and the culture of what it actually is. So they see the violence of it and they go, well, I don't want my child watching that. When in all reality, that's the first thing that I'm not a father, right? You are a father though. So this should be interesting to see where you land on this. But I personally think that would be one of the first things that I would show my child. Like, this is, it's important to protect yourself. It's important to respect yourself and other people. And you don't take advantage. Like, don't go fucking people up, but you need to understand, I don't want you walking around vulnerable and defenseless. If somebody steps to you, I want you to be able to protect yourself.
It just reminded me as well, like last week, I've got some like little boxing gloves, basically like the thinner ones you just use for the punch bag, and
sparring gloves.
Yeah. So like I took them to my kid's place, and I was just teaching my little boy, because I used to do training with boxing and stuff, and like used to spar and stuff. So I was just teaching him like the basics, like the footwork and like keeping your hands up to your head, and when you throw a punch, twist your wrist at the end, bring it back, but bring it back up to your face. So once you've thrown the punch, don't leave it down there, because
right, you protect yourself.
If you go punch them and you miss, or even if you hit them, there's a good chance they're going to get you back, because you've thrown the punch but you kept your arm down there instead of bringing it back. And I was just trying to teach him stuff like that. He's still like young in that, so whether he takes an interest to it, I still have to work on it. But like that, that just reminded me, as you were saying that, about like teaching your kids stuff in terms of looking after themselves. And but as well, like I've actually got Karate Kid on DVD. That's another one I've got, and I've watched it with my kids before. They've seen it a few times, and I haven't really spoke to them in depth about it. But I'd like to think that they watch it and can sort of absorb some of their moments with like Mr. Miyagi and that, where he's kind of mentoring him and probably like being like his dad in some ways in that film as well.
Because I don't remember a lot about my childhood. I remember bits and pieces of everything. If we're going to be honest, I couldn't give you a timeline, but I do remember watching that film and certain moments, like you're saying, sticking out to me. Like, oh, this guy's being tough on them because he wants them to learn the proper way. Same thing, like if we escalated it and we go into the Kill Bill movies. Now, I know that's like taking it from first to fifth gear, but the guy that was training Uma Thurman was doing the same shit, even though he was a hard ass and he did it a certain way that, made her into a ruthless kill her, he still taught her the proper way to do it. Versus where they show. Have you've seen that, right?
I've seen. I know I've seen the first one at least. I don't think I saw all of them, but it's been a long time, so I can picture bits in my head, but.
You definitely have to. It's so good, dude. I'm not even gonna say anything because I don't want to ruin it for you. If you haven't seen it, because I don't remember which one is volume 1 and which is volume 2, but I would definitely give that a rewatch soon because it's the same thing. But to go back to the original point of teaching them and shit, I think that's good. I did the same thing with her little brother. I mean, her nephew really wasn't too into it. I did it with both of them. I used to have I got a punching bag out of some dude was throwing it away in the neighborhood, and he put it out to the curb, and we grabbed it. It's like 150-pound punching bag. We hung it up on a tree outside, and I would bring them out. They were really small babies. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna have them standing around outside. Like, they couldn't stand up, but I would hold them and I would let them punch the bag, and they would watch me punch it just so they would be like natural to them. Doing that for a while just so they get used to it. And now, I mean, because they're not my kids, I'm not with them every day and showing them shit and training them and teaching them. But every time I do go over there, I have conversations with them now. I'd talk about bullying and protecting themselves and not taking shit, but at the same time, don't be a douchebag. You don't want to be that guy. Of course, you want to fuck somebody up that's picking on you, but there's a difference between the two things, and you got to be careful. And I know that's a little bit off, but
the thing I like, the only concern I have is like times have moved on a lot in terms of people that carry weapons and stuff. There's a lot of cowards out there now that won't fight you. Do you know what I mean? If it gets down to it, they've got something on them to protect themselves. And I would never teach my kids to carry anything because I don't believe in that. But they could lose their life if they get into something with someone, and that other person's got something on them. But
that's a good point.
I would still rather teach.
That's a good point.
The self-defense stuff in terms of using their fists, even if they're in trouble and the other person's got a weapon, rather than never teach them anything, because they might still get out of that situation. Do you know what I mean? Even though the other person might have an advantage. If I don't teach them anything, then I'm going to feel more guilty if something does happen, knowing that they've gone into that situation without no knowledge of what to do. And I'm not saying I train on like defense in terms of when someone's coming at you with a weapon and that, but I think that they'll probably act in that moment more in self-defense anyway, and then deal with the consequences after, even if that other person's got a weapon, instead of it happens and they just get dealt with without defense.
But yeah, you have to.
Cut out again, man. I was gonna say, are you gonna try the link? But if it's already playing up without us trying the film, I don't know how we're gonna go about doing this.
Yeah, this is no good. Now all of a sudden, now I'm having issues with my connection. I'm gonna try to load. I only have 43% on my phone, but I'm gonna try to load this up on my phone to see if it will work any better. I'll just try to jump into the stream as a third person and then drop out on the computer.
The only other thing I can think of, which is I think it's a bit whack, but it might be the only way we can do it at the moment, is
pre-recorded.
Yeah, like either pre-record it or watch it independently, and then come back and put our thoughts into record a video of both of us, like kind of reviewing it, but together or something like that. I know it's not what the original idea was, but if it's the only way we can go about it, we might have to do it like that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because especially with the internet being so unreliable, if it's going to drop out like this, it's going to make it impossible to do it. I mean, I know those are the two ways I think we could do it, because here's what it is. I know we did this last time when we did a stream for the Christmas episode that I put out, but I could always load this page up, open it, and just not turn it on live, and then I'm pretty sure I would be able to open up the OBS and capture. I think I'll be able to capture the video of this at the least, or no, if we do it on Facebook, we could do a video call on Facebook, and then I can open the OBS up and I could capture it that way. It just won't be live, so unfortunately we wouldn't have the chat interaction, which I think is a big part of what the appeal of the show is. But at the same time, at least we would be able to put it together. It's either that or do, like you said, we watch it independently, and then we could go onto Facebook and talk about the different viewpoints we have.
I don't mind doing it the Facebook way. I didn't even think of that, to be honest. I think that would be worth a go if you think that's worth a try. At least then, even if it's live, like you said, even if it isn't live, we can still film it like that, and then there might be interaction afterwards in the comments anyway. Do you know what I mean? I just want to get something out there that's a bit different. Like, we've been, like, obviously someone put out this idea not too long ago, so it's still new, but just in terms of what we were speaking about the other day, just creating different and new stuff. Like, so even though it might not go out like how we originally had planned it to, like, it's just finding a way of getting it out there, even if it's a different path of doing it. So yeah. I reckon we just try the Facebook way. If that don't work, then maybe do what I said and do it independently. Then come back and then just like share our thoughts on it, maybe.
Okay, well, hold on. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get up and grab a drink real quick. So I'm not going anywhere. Hopefully it doesn't cut out between the time it takes me to get from here to the kitchen, but I'll be right back. Every 5 fucking minutes. It makes it impossible to do a goddamn show. We're gonna have to probably do it over Facebook. Fucking unbelievable. You see, is my bottom of the titty still? Oh, yeah. Right here. Why stop, Kevin? You should. You already got the idea of what to do. Well, I'm gonna make a witch. Oh, then do that instead. Fuck the thing that we're gonna do. No. Do whatever you want. No, we still have that. Yeah, I know, but if you want to do something else, do something else. You have your clay for a reason. Well, plus, anything that you make is so good. I guess I'll finish the guy. Hold on, dude, I'm almost done. You guys are cigarettes? Yeah, here. But I'll give you one. Give me a second. Hold on, dude. I'm almost done. I know this is the part of the show that is not professional, but look, man, this is part of the creative process, all right? This is the most authentic YouTube experience that you're going to get. That's legit. Outside of amateur porn, this is as real as it gets, motherfuckers. Understand that. I know you're just kind of looking at a blank screen right now, but, you know, this is the process, dude. I put out 84 hours of free content, bro. 84 hours and counting of free content. I should be able to get up and grab a drink on a live stream real quick. People should understand. Come on, now. I mean, for fuck's sake, we're bringing you all the way to England and back to America for free. I gotta figure out where I put them. Shit. Come on now. I might even switch mobile. They have to be out there somewhere. They're somewhere in this house. Alright, hold on now. Let me see if I can figure out how to get into this thing on my mobile device here. Enter broadcast studio. Now I'm gonna echo because I don't know where my fucking JBLs are. Continue. Allow. Stop the camera. Mute the microphone. Okay, now I should. Oh shit! I apologize for that. I think we're alright. Holy shit. That was really bad. My mistake. First time for everything. Hopefully I'm not echoing. I think I'm just coming out with the computer now. Yeah, I think Facebook would be the way to do it. Do you know where my headphones are? Have you seen them? Because it would make it much easier to do this if I had them. Everything is all fucked up. Every time we try to do this, some shit goes wrong. But that's the nature of
It's
the
technology.
business. Man.
Technology.
Huh?
I said it's technology.
Yeah, it sucks.
Hard.
Well, yeah. Plus, there's a storm coming. We're supposed to be hit with it in about a half an hour.
Oh,
It's going to be bad thunder and lightning.
Have you seen Best of the Best?
No, what's that about?
It's a martial arts film. I think it's from the 90s. There's like a few of them, 3 or 4 of them. But the first one, that was another one I just thought of a minute ago. What you asked earlier was like, what was like the first one I remember seeing? I don't think it was the first one, but it was one of the first ones.
One of the first ones. That's interesting because I've never heard of that one. I do know. I'm. Oh God, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's definitely worth checking out. As I said, there's about 3 or 4 of them. The first 2 are all right. I think after the first 2, it gets a bit silly. But also, you got to have seen this is Bloodsport from Jean-Claude Van Damme and also Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme. They're both classics that I wanted to mention.
I've seen both of those for sure. I know I've seen those. Those are good movies.
I'd say I like both of them a lot, but Bloodsport is probably one of my favorites ever. It's just I think it goes a bit under the radar with some people. I think like the hardcore martial arts fans, that is definitely one of their favorites. But I think it doesn't always get mentioned. But it's definitely one of my favorites.
Too many people get wrapped up in the acting of it.
Yeah, like like there's some really cheesy like dance scenes and stuff in Jean-Claude Van Damme films. Like it makes me uncomfortable, but like there's so much more like good shit in there in terms of actual martial arts that it outweighs the goofiness and the cheesiness for me.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Alright, I just plugged headphones in. So for some reason I can't see you on the mobile, but I can hear you. And I can see there's still your video is still streaming on the computer. So they have visuals at home for some reason. On mobile, I don't. I know they just launched this not that long ago, so they're still working out bugs and shit. But to get back to your point, yeah, the acting, people do get caught up in it, but the action, those movies are not for the acting. Jean-Claude Van Damme didn't make Bloodsport because he's a good actor. He made it because he knows how to kick ass and make fucking cool movies.
I've seen him recently. He's in shape still. He's like fucking 60 or 70 or something, and the man's like still doing splits and shit. It's incredible.
I mean, even Steven Seagal, right? Like that guy is an ass, but he has made good movies as far as action's concerned. If you cut out all the dialogue and you just made a compilation of all the action scenes in the movie, maybe you might look at it a little differently.
He's the only, well, one of the ones I've never really watched. I've never really come across his films, so I haven't searched for him. But I know that he gets a lot of hate and he's in a lot of memes and stuff. So I've always got.
Well, he's a nut, dude. That's partially why he gets a lot of hate, because he's a fucking crazy person. But I mean, outside of that, it's because he's not a great. At least from what I've heard, Tom Segura has a really funny bit on, I think, mostly Stories, one of his specials, where he talks about Seagal being a crazy person and being a detective, arresting people and shit. Like, he makes up stories about knowing everything, even though he doesn't know shit. It's crazy, but you gotta be able to separate the weirdo shit from, like, all right, this guy knows how to, at least he knows his shit. Like, he learned under people that know what the fuck they're talking about. So it's not like he's making that part up. It's just every other thing about him is fraudulent. That's where I think a lot of the hate comes from. And then, of course, people that are really about the culture. Steven Seagal is the mumble rap of martial arts movies. That's what he is. People will watch a Steven Seagal film and they'll say, like, the moves are good. In other words, the beat's alright, the lyrics are trash. But I mean, if I need to listen to something to get me a little pumped up, like, sure, I'll watch it. But if I want to listen to, in other words, like, you have your Tupac Shakurs and Biggie Smalls of martial arts movies being Jet Li and Jackie Chan, personally, in my opinion. Obviously, Bruce Lee is the Sugar Hill Gang of martial arts movies. He's the first one to do it. Everybody knows that. And even if he's not the first one, he's the first one that we all know, right? And then years later, the culture gets a little bit of a reboot. Now here comes this fucking asshole making up helicopter noises and not noises, making up helicopter facts and talking about dog breeds he knows nothing about. It's hilarious.
Even with the even with them, like, it's got easy dialogue and like.
Hold on, let me mute my microphone so you can say it again so I can hear you. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, like, even going back to the originals with the Bruce Lee films, like it's got the cheesy dialogue and like the overdubbing of them speaking, and like even that is cringy, and that's the goat doing that. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's in a lot of martial arts films. So even back with Bruce Lee, it was doing it where it was kind of like cringy and in terms of the actual dialogue and the overdubbing. But in terms of the action and that, you can't deny it. Like especially knowing that the speed that that man had, it looks like there was special effects back in them days when he's doing it, and that's natural ability. Like they're not messing with that footage. That's him. Like some of the stuff he done. Like where's that scene where he jumps up and kicks that light and like the fan and in the ceiling and that. It's crazy.
I'm trying not to hit the wrong button because I'm walking down the stairs and doing this at the same time, but I was gonna say, I think a big problem with some of that is the fact that they do what, I don't have keys if you're asking me. I think a big problem of what they do is they see that a movie is popular for some reason, right? And then they take the concept of it and they Hollywood it up and they take all the authenticity out of it. The shit that people actually, there's a reason why Bruce Lee is the shit. It's not just because he does the moves and he made things and did shit that nobody else was doing, but it's that he rose above everything and he basically got exiled, from what I understand, for basically making movies with Americans. Like they weren't having it, and he was like, dude, this shit is so powerful, like I want to show the entire world what this whole thing is really all about. I know that's not exactly what you were talking about, but you know.
But what are you doing? You out walking a dog?
Yeah.
You did this earlier.
Hey, I mean, you know what, dude? Might as well. She's an old lady. She's 18 years old. The computer's not fucking working right, so why not just walk outside and do a goddamn show mobily? Who cares, right? Fuck it. Look, man, while I'm not, before I get rich and famous, I might as well enjoy the luxury of walking around and being a nobody.
Saying, before I get rich and famous, let me walk my fucking dog. You've got me wanting to watch Rumble in the Bronx now, so I'm gonna have to try and find a link for that now. Might have to watch it with a flipping foreign subtitles on it, because that's one that I grew up watching as well. My brother introduced me to that one.
Bro, I was gonna say, no disrespect. I was gonna say no disrespect to Demos, dude, but this movie seems like a pain in the ass to kind of find. If we could start with Rumble in the Bronx, I know that there's an English dub version that exists somewhere. At least we'll be able to understand what's going on in the plot lines, and we both know it's a classic fucking movie.
But it's just a case, we need to see if this Facebook thing works, because until we know that, we don't know what to do next. So we need to work it out.
That's true. Well, I mean, no, it's not that. It's because the movie has subtitles on it. So if you have the patience to sit down and watch an entire film subtitled, which a lot of people don't.
I did it with Death Note. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, like, all right, Jen watch it. Like, I know we're going a little bit off topic here, but it's kind of related at the same time. And I agree with what you're saying. And don't, next time warn me so I can mute it before you do that.
Sorry.
I don't want to fuck people up. That's just gross. Fuck. Never. All right, look, Jen was just saying, like, she watched Death Note, which is I think a Japanese anime, right?
It was a comic book, basically, a manga.
Yeah, so basically it's Japanese though. I have the country right. It's whatever. It's something. It's in the area. It's in the neighborhood. I don't know the door number. I know they live on the street. Whatever. She watched an entire movie with all the subtitles in it and was like, dude, I mean, I'll watch it for the action, but I don't have the patience to sit here and try to figure it out. Plus being dyslexic, whatever. But so
20 minutes in the movie,
there are.
and rewinded. But I kind of think that one kind of stays to the storylines.
There are people that will watch these films and have no idea what the hell is going on inside the movie, but the action is so good that they're actually willing to sit through it.
Bro, how do you think people would feel if we did like Three Ninjas, just in terms of like people be like, what are these weirdos doing watching some kids like try and fight, like, but they don't understand the history, and like that's a classic. But I'm just thinking, well, what would people think? Would they think these guys are weirdos?
Bro, I think that shit would. There's absolutely no reason why that wouldn't pop right now. Karate Kid. Look at how big the Karate Kid reboot was on YouTube Red, bro. That was everywhere. That was the talk of the internet for 6 months.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first season of that. There's season 2's out now, isn't it? I need to try find it because I watched it on like when it was on trial, like on the premium thing, but you didn't have to pay for it. I think I got a few of them free, and then I got a friend. I managed to get some downloads sent to me, but I need to check out the newer season. I need to get on there.
I got to get the Hulu password from my boy again because I've been giving him half the membership money every month to watch it. I got to see.
So watch it, they'll catch up to you.
I got to see what's on there. But, dude, I mean, I haven't even watched Cobra Kai, to be honest with you. There's just been so much. Familiar. I've been so deep in my own universe of trying to create content and walk that delicate line of having a personal life, maintaining a regular life, and also create content at the same time. So I'm not going to catch everything, but I haven't watched the Three Ninjas movie, and I can't even tell you the last time I sat down and watched it. All I do remember is I remember them making fun of that kid saying Rocky loves Emily. That shit still in my head. Watching that shit, being embarrassed for him because I was around that dude's age, I think, when I seen it. If we watch that now, we're two weirdo dudes just doing our own thing. Why can't we, bro? What's stopping us? You see some of these other channels. If I can talk out of turn, and I'm not telling you to endorse this statement, but I'm saying, bro, I don't think the bar is really that high for content on the internet right now. I mean, sure, everybody and their mother has a show, but I think there's a lot being left on the table here that's not taken up by the Jim and Sams and the Tim Dillons of the world.
Not to cut you out, but that'd be a fire title for a podcast. Wait for this. Show me your mother.
Yeah.
Talk about
for sure. You know how many hippos we would get, bro? Oh my god. It would be helicopter moms that we can highlight a Karen of the week, bro. Parenting. Really what we should do. Honestly, what we should do, if you want to do a show like that, is show me your mom, or we could call it will sound sexual, but it's not. Like show me your unit, right? So if you're a single mom or a single dad, and you're actually taking care of your kid and you're doing the right shit, we should highlight you for a fucking week and talk about what it is that you're doing. Because too many people are not on their job.
That I would be 100% down for that because, like that doesn't get enough appreciation. That doesn't get enough light shone on it. And for some reason, some people look at that and they might think, oh, that's not cool. Do you know what I mean? And why is it not cool? For me, that's a gangster to me. I've said that before on like a reaction video or something. I've said people that boast about holding weapons and shooting people and that's not gangster to me. A gangster is someone that, like a single parent or like a provider for their family, like someone that maybe goes to war. I don't necessarily agree with like being a soldier and that, because I think a lot of them are tricked into fighting for someone else's bullshit. But you still got to have balls to go and do that. Do you know what I mean? And I think them sort of people don't get enough light shone on them, and when they do, I think some people try and downplay it because it's not cool or it's not perceived to be cool, and that's bollocks. So something like that, I think that's a fire idea.
Yeah, I think we should do it, dude, because I know there's a comedian, Steve Simone, who he runs like a charity thing where he raises money doing comedy benefits or whatever he does. He has a GoFundMe, something like that. He's on Twitter. You can find it. He'll pick a family like a legit people that actually really need help, bro. Like even if they're not single parents, like a family, a small family that doesn't have a lot of money or whatever, like he'll make it so that people can donate to these people and see that they actually will get the money legit and be able to go and get a car, whatever it is that they need to do, they'll be able to do it with this dude's help. And there's not people talk about it. Joey Diaz has highlighted it. Joe Rogan has highlighted it. But outside of him, there's not really a lot of people that do shit like that. There's not a lot of appreciation. Internet, social media has basically just become fucking memes and political nonsense bullshit. I don't give a fuck about that. I want to know what's really on your mind, and I think there's money being left on the table, bro. Why can't it be ours?
Like that's honestly like when you started talking about that, I thought you was going down like a joke route in terms because I was like the title for like "Show Me Your Mother," but I was just joking with that. But then you went into that, like you kind of caught me off guard with it. But like I think that's a brilliant idea. Like obviously we'd have to work out like how we'd format it or whatever, but I think that's a brilliant idea because it's going to highlight people, it's going to make people feel good, and it will hopefully motivate people to watch it as well because they might be in a similar position, and even though we're not talking about them, they might be doing everything that person that we're highlighting is doing, and that's going to make them feel good about themselves because they're like the same stuff. So I might not get from it, but these guys have just praised someone that's doing the exact same stuff as me, so I must be doing something right.
Well, I was gonna say, you know what? A big part of why we do these live streams is because crowd engagement, for lack of a better term, right? I know we don't have hundreds of people in the chat or watching or even streaming the podcast or the reaction videos or whatever, but it doesn't matter. We're not doing this for the numbers. We're doing it because we want to do cool shit. So we could always part of this is gonna have to be we could keep it. I could tell some stories. I'm sure you can too. That would be the easy part. But if you think you should, or somebody that you know is a single parent, or even if they're not single parents, even if it is, mother, father, whatever, if they're doing their job right, taking care of their business, they should be highlighted. And why not? And when I say money on the table, I'm not talking about actual dollars, but just the idea that nobody has the balls or the common sense to actually do this and put the time in. We have absolutely nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. We both have our respective YouTube channels with whatever we're doing, but part of content creation, I feel like a big part of it is lost on competition, for one. Everybody is always trying to compete with one another rather than collaborate and make some dope shit. And I'm not saying that competition isn't a good thing. I think it's needed and we should have it. But at the same time, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't see a balance though, like you said, like there's a lot of competition with whether it's music or sports or like I don't think that there's enough of a balance of having that competition but also having enough people that support each other as well. I've spoke about it a lot on my channel before, whereas like I'm saying like even like with music for example, why are more people not collaborating? Why are they not helping each other out more? And it's because of the views and the different stages they're at in their different careers and that. But that shouldn't be a factor. If you're authentic and you want to help each other and a better future for people, like you have to set the example by doing these collaborations and working with people. I don't like all this ostracizing and you know what I mean. There's a lot of ego in it, and I think that people show their true colors. It goes on a lot in music, at whatever level you're at. I've seen it, and I just think, like you said, it's healthy to have competition, but I see it all the time where there's 90% competition, and you're lucky if there's 10% of people coming together as a unit, whether it's music or like building a project together, like fun, like going into business together, or do you know what I mean? Like independently, like entrepreneurs, or I don't think there's enough of that.
No, there's not. There really isn't. And I'm seeing it on every level, right? Like, I know I have a video that I haven't edited yet. And it's not because I'm lazy. It's because I keep 4 or 5 things moving at a time, all the time. I got 4 episodes of the podcast already scheduled, ready to go. I got to start recording again to set that back up to give myself a window of time. But I made a video where I'm promoting some of the shit that Jen is making. You see the Instagram, it's on there. People will.
The other week, sorry to cut you off. I just want to say that I've noticed the work rate, and both of you, her doing a lot of this drawing, but you promoting it as well. Like, I see it in like the stories now on Instagram, like daily. There's something up there about her artwork. So not only is she pushing it forward, but you're pushing it as well. So I've definitely noticed that about you, especially the last month or so. It's been night and day of how it was before. Because when I first found out about it, she was probably doing as much work back then, but you wasn't. You said you wanted to support her, but I didn't see anything on Instagram or nothing of you, like putting it up there to expose it to more people. And I'm not saying that's your job, but obviously you've took that role on, and I've just wanted to tell you that I've noticed that, because especially in the last month or so, like literally every day I go on, like when I go on Instagram, or literally say you post something every day, maybe like 3 times, at least one of or 2 of them posts is regarding that artwork, and that's not even like your work. Do you know what I mean? That's someone else, even though it's someone close to you. I don't see enough of that with like people like couples and that as well. Like, that's a perfect example for that. So I just wanted to let you know that I've noticed that.
Well, I appreciate that, dude, and that's why I noticed in the beginning when I first opened up the Instagram channel, I had just a couple of pictures of myself on there, and then I really thought about it. And to be honest with you, I don't like taking pictures of myself. I'm not that guy. I don't mind taking a group photo with everybody in it. That's different. But
you don't want to show people how how disgusting that you think that you look.
Yeah,
I do that.
Yeah. Well, the point is that I saw what everybody was doing, and I was like, you know what? She's been working on this artwork for years. This has been her life. This is what she does. Everybody that has ever seen her working on something always stops and says, they make a comment on it, like, oh, I like that idea, or that's a cool concept, or can you make this or do that? And don't get me wrong, a lot of people, they say that in the moment because they want to be a part of it, I think. So in their minds, they're like, if I say that I want this person to make me something, like, I'm supporting them. But you're not, though. You're just having them work for free, then they come up with an idea, and now you leave them hanging where they thought they can make $1, and now you think you're doing a good thing, but really you're fucking somebody over. That's a different part of the conversation. But basically, that happening, people flaking out, led me to. I see the artwork that's being promoted on Instagram as well, and I don't mean to be this guy, but here I go. Some of you have views that you don't deserve. I'm gonna fucking say it. Some of the artwork I see up on Instagram, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves putting that out and calling that the best work that you can do. That is ridiculous, but it's gotten you a following. Congratulations, and enjoy it while you can, because we're coming, motherfuckers, right? Like, I see that there's not a lot of this. I see some cool shit, so let me get behind it and support it. And I know her, and we live together and all that shit, but there's a difference between the manager role needed to be taken up. Okay, this is early in the relationship. If I could divert for a moment, when we met back up like 15, 16 years ago, whatever it was, she was in vocational school for fashion design.
That was before before we even hooked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually wound up tagging along with her to her class I was curious to see what that world was all about, because she was like, it's not just fashion, it's also business. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh shit, okay, well, when in the neighborhood I grew up in, one of my friend's grandfathers owned the local corner store. So I was able to see somebody local. If you have enough money, you could do some shit like that. Like you can start an economy or whatever. But so I tagged along with her in her class, and I got a small insight into the business. I got to see them organize a fashion show at like the ground level, and
make the stores, a fake store.
Yeah, you gotta make like I watched her go through, and I don't want to make this like a big diversion where I'm talking about myself, but I think this is an important part of the structure that is the art culture, and even part of what we do, because we're doing the same shit on some level. But having to make a mock store of how you would want your place set up for when customers come in, what are you selling, what you have the ability to make, do all that shit. But there's also putting the fashion show together for themselves so they can get an idea of what they're supposed to do. And then they get let out into the world, right? Like they had to make, when I got into her class, I actually was involved in the classroom asking questions to the teacher. I didn't pay for that class. I wasn't even supposed to be in there. But that lady was cool enough to let me hang out and soak up some knowledge, man.
She talk about it. She, you needed to go to a couple doctor's appointments. Seeing how productive you were, with me, and with what I was doing, that you were into what I was doing. So she's like, you know what, he can come. He doesn't even have to pay.
Yeah, well, I don't like to see talent go to waste, man. It's basically what this is, which is part of the reason why I even reached out to you to begin with, is I saw what you were doing, and I was like, why are more people not sticking together? Why are more people not trying to build shit together instead of always trying to compete with one another? And I took that same principle and I'm exercising it and I'm doing it. And I don't care how many followers we have, but I'm taking that artwork and I'm pushing it. And the scale of her work has changed. She's working on more now. But it's also, I've managed to work myself into a corner where she allows me to take snapshots of her work while she's doing it. Whereas if you were a stranger just standing behind her, she wouldn't feel comfortable doing what she's doing. But because I'm right there, I'm giving you that small sneak peek into the artwork, and I think that needs to be there. So, I took it upon myself to make sure that happened. I don't know where it's going to go, if anything is ever going to be made from it, but
you were a cover. With everything I did, anything I did with fashion, art, you were always like, hey, what you doing?
But I think
and that made me a little bit comfortable.
If you're into some shit, bro, it is your job to promote yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. We sat around here for years. Everybody's saying, oh, you got so much talent. You're so good at what you do. She's been to tattoo parlors, getting fucked over. We like your artwork, but we don't want to pay for it. And go back in there a week later and her artwork is up on the fucking wall. Or getting jacked by Hot Topic because they saw outfits that she had made. And they jack the idea and they make this shit. You can't prove none of this, but I mean, this is legit shit. So I saw that this was happening and I decided that she needs somebody to fucking promote her. I gotta figure out how to do this and we gotta get this done. Now, this is the first year I put together an idea for a store. I went on bonfire.com. I have to put the site together. We still need merchandise, but we're making merchandise, bro. I'm putting this girl to work because I cannot, with a good conscience, understand what this girl has the potential to do and not throw it out into the world and see what happens. The worst case scenario with go ahead.
I was just gonna say I just love seeing it, man, because like anyone supporting anyone, whether it's your like I see it a lot with like music and that. Some people get supported by their friends and their boys and that, but I rarely see it with couples. So I think it's even more fire that the fact that you're a couple when you're doing it, because like most couples, even if one of them's successful, you rarely see the other partner supporting and promoting like that. That's fire. That's like the kill shot. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, see, that's exactly what it is. But this is a draft. So hold on, let me.
But I love seeing that, the fact that not only is it support, but the fact that it's a couple doing it. Because, like I said, you might get a famous rapper, but their partner's probably not their promoter or whatever. So I just think that's another bow to your string as well. That's what I like about it so much, because I think it'd be healthier for a lot of relationships as well, because if that person genuinely loves you so much like they say they do, they should be interested in what you're doing and help pushing you. Even I know you don't like how I go on about him, but Daylight has said this in one of his videos before. He's had numerous girlfriends where he'd be sat in a room on like minimum wage, but he's trying to create music and stuff, or like fashion or whatever, and that all these girls wouldn't understand what he's doing. They won't support him, so they're getting into arguments, and then they'd end up splitting up. But like his latest one, like she goes to all his battles with him. I don't know if she goes to like the shows when he does live performances and that, but do you know what I mean? Like he said this in his videos before, like certain partners he's been with don't get it, and it makes you feel like shit because you're trying to push for your passion, and they say they love you and all this, but they're not helping. They don't understand when, because they want you to spend time with them or whatever. Sometimes it takes sacrifice, and he's saying that some of his exes didn't allow him to sit in his room and write his bars and get ready for having a battle against someone, because that's ultimately what he's going to get the money from as well. We need more people to come together though, man. It's not enough, like, just general support for each other. A lot of people clowning on people that like they're trying to support them or claim to be supporting them, then they won't like donate to their channels or anything. Or I'm guilty of it as well. I need to get on my shit with like Daylight, for instance. I love his music, but I don't ever go to his website and buy his music. So I need to get on things like that. But at the moment, with like the whole lockdown and the virus shit, it's not clear if I've got a job to go back to, so it's kind of all a bit edgy. So I've got to be careful with my money. But just in general, people need to support each other more. So it is what it is. It's just, it's frustrating when you see it happening, because it just seems to always be, the vast majority of it is going the wrong direction.
Well, look, the problem is simple, dude. It's not cool to be a leader. That's what it comes down to. You have to make it cool. People don't realize that they're supposed to support each other. You have to teach them that, especially now in today's day and age with everybody being greedy and all about themselves. You have to be the one that's going to rise above that and be better and show them that this is what you're supposed to be doing. And it's going to take a long time and it's a hard road to fucking pave. But when you finally do it, people will see that and they will respect it, because it's not something that can easily be done, and it's a respect that you get because it's earned. And unfortunately, there are some people that just don't have the work ethic. That's just what it is. They think that, well, one day I'm a nobody and tomorrow I wake up and I'm a superstar and everybody loves me. That's not at all how it works. That's the illusion that you've been given, because you don't get to see the years that it takes for you to put in before you're even in a position where you might be able to see something like that happening. But having somebody on your side that is going to support what you do is absolutely necessary. If you, I hear comics talk about this shit all the time about how, you know, if they're dating somebody that is not happy that they have to go out when other people are getting in bed to go to sleep, these guys are just starting their workday because they got to go hit the clubs at 11 o'clock at night and go work a 15-minute set 8-9 times in one night to get it right, to make sure they prepare for that hour just in case HBO or Netflix or Comedy Central or somebody comes by to pick it up. They got to be fucking ready. And if the person that you're with isn't behind you, and I'm not saying you got to be a cheerleader 100% of the time, but you gotta be putting your support behind what the other person is doing. Otherwise, you're wasting everybody's time that's involved and nobody's gonna get anywhere. It's just gonna build resentment. And you have to understand a big problem of what this is people don't know where they want to go in their life. They don't know what direction is when they see it. Me personally, I've been doing the same shit for years. I've been fucking around with audio, mixing shit up, and she's been doing artwork for years. It's not guaranteed to make money, but this is a passion project, and if money can come from it, then that's a healthy and fantastic side effect. But if it can't, then we're just going to live poor the rest of our lives and enjoy what we do as a passion. But that's a sacrifice that you have to be willing to make. If you're not willing to eat ramen noodles or Wawa subs sometimes 4 of 7 days out of the week, then maybe this lifestyle is not for you. You're not just going to come up on filet mignon. You have to pay your dues, bro.
We talk about artists. All artists has a struggle.
Yeah, but people don't realize that. People turn on a fucking YouTube video, bro, and they see people like Tony Robbins or Kevin Hart in a million people arena. Everybody loves them. They're a household name. That came from years of fucking grinding with nobody knowing who they are, sleeping in hotels with bed bugs and all kinds of horrible, horrific stories.
Just to butt in on that, I've got a little bit of it left, but I've got a Kevin Hart book I'm actually reading at the moment. And he's just basically said that he just sold out like I think it was like Madison Square Garden or something, but like 90% of this book I've read is about the shit he had to go through. Do you know what I mean? So like, unless you're gonna read the book or like watch a lot of his interviews and that, you're not gonna know that. Like you said, especially if you've just come across him, you're just gonna see that straight away and think, like, you can do that. But like you said, without knowing his personal story, like it's the sacrifice, isn't it? Because like you said, you don't know what he had to do to get to that point.
And bro, look at him. He's still a mess. He's rich and he's a fucking mess. But I like that about him because that shows he's a genuine person. He doesn't have, even when you have, it shows that even when you have money, you still might not have your shit together.
Yeah. Like, I've watched some of his stuff and I'm not that big a fan of it. I think it's also like the American to UK kind of sarcasm and all that stuff. But I'd find bits of his stuff funny, but like I've really enjoyed the book because a lot of it is like showing that it's not all rainbows. Do you know what I mean? Like there's humor in it, but a lot of it is of stuff about like how his dad was just like a druggie and like, and then he
it's a real story.
Yeah, like fucked up relationship with him, and then they kind of made it up a bit, but his dad's still like not in a great place, and so like you said,
bro, like, he's got a thing on Netflix. It's a series. It's like a documentary series about his life. There's a scene in there where his father comes up to, like, he's talking about his family and shit. And his father has all these breathing problems and shit from years of doing drugs and all that. And his father is talking to him and he's like, listen, man, I need your help with something. And Kevin Hart looks at him and he's like, dude, just tell me what it is and we'll get it. You don't need to beat around the bush. I got the money. Just tell me what it is and I'll buy it for you. You don't ever need to feel like you need to be begging me for some shit. And I'm paraphrasing what he said, but basically that's what it was. Like, you know, we got money now. We don't need to struggle. You're gonna get the top care of everything. It doesn't matter what you did. It's about right now. And it takes a special kind of a mentality to get there. And I
even in
think
the book he says like he started to blow up a bit and he was getting quite a bit of money and then he went broke again basically. So he had to go back to the drawing board. So it's like he started to blow up and then do you know what I mean? And then like he went broke and he felt like he hit rock bottom again from like when he originally started out. So he got to a certain point and then he like nosedived and then he had to build back up again. So like he's kind of it's like he's gone up the mountain twice kind of thing.
Well, you need that though. If you notice, dude, I don't know how closely you follow famous people. I know I don't, but if I love an underdog. I do. It's my favorite thing in the world. I'm one myself, so I identify with that story and I love it every single time. But I feel like the people that are actually successful are the ones that make it to fame, fall off, and climb back again because they get to revisit the bottom. And I think that's where they need the motivation to go, I'm going to get back there. Because the problem is, I don't know if you remember this old song, dude. I think it came out in like 03, but it was about sunscreen. You know what I'm talking about?
What was it? Sorry, like an advert.
It was some dude. It wasn't a song, but it was a guy that was speaking, and they put like motivational music behind him. And he said, "If I have one thing to say to the class of whatever year it was, it's wear sunscreen, right?" And then he goes on this whole diatribe of talking about different shit. And there's one thing that he said in there that has stuck out to me still to this day, dude, because it just popped into my head now while we're talking about this. But he said, leave the West Coast before it makes you hard.
Before you go on, I don't know what it is. I might if you like shown it to me, but it doesn't like ring any bells.
All right, I'm gonna look it up real fast while we're sitting here talking.
So when we gonna
Here it is. I got it. Not to cut you off. I know that was.
No, I just wanted to know when, because we obviously been on quite a while already on this one, but just wondering when we're going to try the Facebook thing.
Hold on, I don't think you heard that. But I was gonna say I didn't know if you wanted to do that today or a different day. If you want to do that today, I'll play this video. We'll wrap this up and then we can switch over to Facebook, or we can plan it for another day and try to start it over on Facebook and do it from there.
I don't mind doing it tonight. It's just I didn't know how long you've got for the streaming and that, and so we can do it tonight. I just didn't know what your schedule was in terms of time wise.
Okay, but I got no problem doing it tonight, but in the spirit of full disclosure, I haven't eaten anything yet. So if we could take maybe a brief intermission, I could make something to eat, and then we can come back on and switch over to Facebook and do it. I'd be all right with that.
Yeah,
but I know it's way later for you than it is for me. It's only 4 o'clock here. It's got to be like what, almost 12?
Well, yeah, that's a point. It's not that late, but it's 9:15. I ain't got to be up early tomorrow, but I have got to do some daddy duties like in the afternoon. So I'm just thinking, depending on how long we're gonna stream when we come back on. I don't know if it's worth scheduling it or not.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we might be better off just scheduling it for a different day. Maybe we round this off and start off on Facebook on a different time. At least we can use this as the starting block, right? Like this was the idea that we had. This is what we plan on doing with it, where we're going with it. Next time we'll try Facebook. Hopefully it'll work. because we're on such a time difference. It's only 4 p.m. here for me, so it's like dinner time, and you are gonna have to get ready for tomorrow in a couple of hours. So I need people to understand that we are working on a decent time difference between us. So it's not that we don't want to do this, it's just a matter of scheduling it to where it works for the both of us. Oh, I think you froze up. Oh, there you go.
I was going to say, like, I'm not a great sleeper in it, so I could be up for hours yet. So we could do it. It's just like,
well, it's not going to take me long to make food. I already got burgers half made in the fridge. I just have to fry them up and eat, and I'm good. I can come back on probably 45 minutes tops.
Right, I'll give you like I'm bad. That sounds bad. What about if we come back on in an hour? Is that all right?
Yeah, that works for me.
All right, cool. Either drop me a message or I'll keep checking YouTube or whatever just to see. Or I don't know if we're going on Facebook. Maybe message me on there when you're ready.
For sure. All right, so I'll share this video and then we'll wrap up with this. Because
are we definitely doing Ong Bok, or are we going to do something else? I don't mind, because you made a point earlier. I don't mind doing it because it's easier for me because I've got the DVD here. But if you want to do something else, it's just we got to make sure, like, if it is something else that, like you said, like the Three Ninjas or whatever, you think that that there's certain streams that you can find or links that, do you know what I mean, that are English subtitles or whatever, and do it that way. I just want to make sure that, like, what film we're going to do.
Well, while we're on the break, right before I start dinner, I can look and I'll double check on the Tubi to make sure that I at least can get English subtitles. Because I don't think it'll be dubbed, but that's fine. Since you have it on DVD, I can find it on Tubi. If I can watch it, then we're good. It'd be easier. And then next time we can do Three Ninjas because it'll give us time to search for it.
Yeah.
But okay, let me see. I know what this is supposed to sound like. I haven't heard this in I can't tell you how many years.
I'm confused though. What is it? Is it a song? Because if it says lyrics, like, because didn't you say a minute ago it wasn't really a song? Is it like
it's not. From what I remember, it's a beat playing over some guy just giving like a graduation speech.
So it's a bit like the generic like motivational videos.
Right. But this was like the first one to go viral before viral was a thing. I think this might be the right one. Let me see.
Class of 97.
Wear sunscreen.
Sunscreen.
Yep.
If I could
offer you one tip for the future, I don't know why it's sunscreen. Maybe this guy knows somebody that got skin cancer. I don't know what the deal is, but there's some gems in here, dude. You should dig this.
Only one tip for the future. Sunscreen would be it. The long-term benefits of sunscreen have been proved by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice now. Enjoy the power and beauty of your youth. Oh, never mind. You will not understand the power and beauty of your youth until they've faded. But trust me, in 20 years, you'll look back at photos of yourself and recall in a way you can't grasp now how much possibility lay before you and how...
Dude, come on, bro. You're telling me that shit doesn't like, okay, this dude's going to be talking some real shit right now. It's corny because of how they delivered it, but he's talking some real shit right now.
Like, do you know what I'm thinking though? Which is I shouldn't be thinking it, but I'm thinking it's like Jack Nicholson talking to me. Like
100%, bro. It's on that kind of a vibe, for sure.
Fabulous you really look. You are not as fat.
Oh shit, hold on.
Before you, how fabulous you really looked.
That hit me though, where it says about the possibility of like seeing a picture of yourself from when, like, I'm assuming he's saying when you was younger, and you're looking back thinking, oh, I had all the potential in that ahead of me, but I might have wasted it, kind of thing. That hit me.
Yeah, for sure. I look back at pictures of myself now and I'm like, oh my God, I should have lived my life way different. But it's too late now. Sucks.
Are not as fat as you imagine.
I don't know about all that.
Don't worry about the future, or worry, but know that worrying is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubblegum.
All right.
The real troubles in your life are apt to be things that never crossed your worried mind. The kind that blindsides you at 4 p.m. on some idle Tuesday. Do one thing every day that scares you.
I do that every day. If I could interject for a moment, I really do. Getting up on this microphone is one of the scariest fucking things in life to do. But I force myself to do it.
Don't be reckless without.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, I don't even know what I was going to say. My bad.
That's all right.
Other people's hearts. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours. Floss. Don't waste your time on jealousy. Sometimes you're ahead. Sometimes you're behind.
Woo!
The race is long. And in the end, it's only with yourself.
Bro.
You know what it is as well with this is like the stuff he's saying is it's like timeless.
It's all shit that you don't get till you're older. So like right now.
Yeah.
I don't think that to be honest with you, I think I'm smart in a way that I recognize that this was valuable, but I didn't know how it was valuable until right now as I'm listening back to it.
I think this really magnifies, isn't it? Like, that for most people, they start to understand things that would have helped them when they were younger, but they realize it too late.
Right.
Even if it seems things that like seem obvious, like
it always is the most obvious thing that you would never. Bro, I say this all the time. While you're looking for Batman, this is a good relationship thing, dude. If you're worried about your man or your woman fuck somebody else, or worried about somebody else trying to fuck them, I should say, while you're looking at Batman, Robin is gonna come out of nowhere and fuck her right up the butt, dude, because you're not paying attention to the most obvious piece on the board.
Bars. That's true, though. It's true. But yeah, I can't believe I've never heard or seen this before.
It's wild, bro. Just something that they happen to play all the time on the radio out here. For some reason, it just became insanely popular, I guess, because everybody that was middle-aged then was experiencing what we are now, except it was a viral phenomenon before really things went viral. And it was like the last of the old school ways of shit got spread by word of mouth.
This is the sort of thing that needs to be pushed as well. Do you know what I mean? All these things going viral and that. Like, if this was doing it back in the day, like, as well as at the moment, like, even more so with everyone, like if they're still locked down and everything, like, depression and mental health it's doing crazy stuff right now. So this is the sort
they need this. They need to hear this.
This is the sort of stuff that needs to be viral and shit over a lot of other things.
100%. But unfortunately, the best rappers that I listen to have the lowest numbers on YouTube, and that's a fact. Oh, shit. Hold on. All right, there we go. I think I'm back.
Bullshit.
Hold on, man. I can't hear you if you're talking. I'm going to take you out real quick. And I'm going to add you back in. How about now? Can you hear me now?
I can now, yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, I hit a button and I wound up ejecting myself out of the fucking stream because I'm an idiot. So I got it on my phone and on the computer at the same time. This whole thing is a mess. So let me finish this out so we can restart this fucking thing properly.
Remember compliments you receive. Forget the insults. If you succeed in doing this, tell me how. Keep your old love letters.
You heard that?
Throw away your old...
He said, remember the compliments and forget the insults. If you can manage to do this, tell me how. That's real shit. I'm gonna bring this back a little bit.
Tony with yourself. Remember compliments you receive. Forget the insults. If you succeed in doing this, tell me how. Keep your old love letters. Throw away your old bank statements. Stretch. Don't feel guilty if you don't know what you want to do with your life. The most interesting people I know didn't know at 22 what they wanted to do with their lives. Some of the most interesting 40-year-olds I know still don't. Get plenty of calcium.
Hold on, I gotta bring that back real quick because I think that's important too. You know, don't be afraid if you don't know what to do with your life at 22. Some of the people I know at 40 still don't know what to do with their lives, and they're some of the coolest people I know.
I found out I'm 33 and I don't know what I should do with my life.
But that's the point. Like, sometimes you gotta just let the fucking current take you where it's gonna take you. I'm not saying drive yourself homeless with a heroin addiction. All I'm saying is if you're at a fucking house party, I know I'm right here.
Okay.
All I'm saying is if you're at a house party and there's a joint being passed around, maybe take a pull. That's all. I'm not saying go crazy. Just go with the moment. Just don't do anything that's gonna alter your life in a negative way. And for some people, maybe that's smoking weed or drinking. But you get what I'm trying to say.
Guilty if you don't know what you want to do with your life. The most interesting people I know didn't know at 22 what they wanted to do with their lives. Some of the most interesting 40-year-olds I know still don't. Get plenty of calcium. Be kind to your knees. You'll miss them when they're gone. Maybe you'll marry, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll have children, maybe you won't.
Tell me about
Maybe you'll divorce at 40. Maybe you'll dance the funky chicken on your 75th wedding anniversary. Whatever you do, don't congratulate yourself too much, or berate yourself either. Your choices are half chance. So are everybody else's. Enjoy your body. Use it every way you can. Don't be afraid of it or what other people think of it. It's the greatest instrument you'll ever own. Dance. Even if you have nowhere to do it but in your own living room. Read the directions, even if you don't follow them. Do not read beauty magazines. They will only make you feel ugly.
You're getting like a live reaction from me right now without even trying.
Yeah, that's legit.
Mother and sister together will make
This is the problem with the internet now. I gotta find the rest of the original version because
You know, that's interesting as well, where he said about
How much possibility lay before.
Loving yourself and that. But I was listening to another YouTuber the other day, and he was on about how we need to learn to like have fun on our own as well. Like he was saying, like he'll just like put music on and dance to it for like an hour or something and get lost in it because like he's just it might feel like if someone sees him they'd be like, you're mental, you're crazy. But they're saying a lot of reason why people are miserable is because they think they need to be in a group of people all the time, and that's a big reason why a lot of people are unhappy because they feel like they need people around them to have fun instead of learning to kind of like we've spoke about before, finding that childhood like not necessarily innocence, but just learning to have fun on your own as well.
Right, 100%. No, you're exactly right. I gotta catch up to the part where we were at, so just give me a moment and
Remember
I'll get
compliments
into
you
it.
receive. Keep your old love letters. Throw away.
I think I went too far.
Tell me how. Keep your old love letters. Throw away.
I'll just start it from there because I don't know.
Well,
I might even start. Go ahead.
We did the bank statements bit. I remember this bit.
Yeah.
Your old bank statements. Stretch. Don't feel guilty if you don't know what you want to do with your life. Maybe you'll marry at 40. Maybe you don't congratulate yourself too much, or berate yourself either. Your choices are half chance. So are everybody else's. Enjoy your body. Use it every way you can. Don't be afraid of it, or what other people think of it. It's the greatest instrument you'll ever own. Dance. Even if you have nowhere to do it but in your own living room. Read the directions, even if you don't follow them. Do not read beauty magazines. They will only make you feel ugly. Get to know your parents. You never know when they'll be gone for good. Be nice to your siblings. They're your best link to your past and the people most likely to stick with you in the future. Understand that friends come and go, but with a precious few, you should hold on. Work hard to bridge the gaps in geography and lifestyle, because the older you get, the more you need the people you knew when you were young. Live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard. Live in Northern California.
Hold on, I gotta unmute myself. This is exactly why I brought this video up. This line right here is the one that was in my head, where he says, you know, hold on, I gotta rewind it.
New York City
This is the one.
The older you get.
When I heard this back in the day, dude, I knew when I heard this line, like, this is some different shit I gotta remember.
The more you need the people you knew when you were young. Live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard. Live in Northern California once, but
leave before it makes you soft.
Travel. Accept certain inalienable truths. Prices will rise, politicians will philander, you too will get old. And when you do, you'll fantasize that when you were young, prices were reasonable, politicians were noble, and children respected their elders. Respect your elders. Don't expect anyone else to support you. Maybe you have a trust fund. Maybe you'll have a wealthy spouse. But you never know when either one might run out. Don't mess too much with your hair, or by the time you're 40, it will look 85. Be careful whose advice you buy, but be patient with those who supply it. Advice.
Ooh, shit. He's talking that shit right now, boy. Get the fuck out of here. I don't know who this man is, but whoever put him in front of a microphone is goddamn brilliant.
I like it as well.
It's a form of nostalgia.
That he's saying like what we spoke about before about like dancing and don't be too hard on yourself and stuff, because a lot of that stuff you do as a kid that's natural, like as you get older, you're programmed to think that you can't do that. Like society frowns on that, and I think that's like a big key to why, like, the path to like happiness, isn't it? The simple things like dancing and singing and that. And but as you get older, people are like, you can't do that anymore. And then people get miserable. And I think if they were allowed to do shit like that, like it would open up. It might not be on the level of happiness you had as a kid, but it'd be better than the situation you're probably in at the moment.
I was just in here this morning talking about how, people would think I'm crazy. If you ask me what I do all day, is I sit in this room and I basically use my imagination at 30 something years old, and I talk about crazy shit. Sometimes I make stuff up that's not even, whatever. But you got to be able to do that. I don't think you should let that part of your brain just dry up and fizzle out because you hit a certain age. There's a reason why you were born with the ability to imagine things. So why would you take that away from yourself just because you're an adult? You should always want to dream. Have a dream. Even if you know you're never going to accomplish it. Doesn't matter. The point is that you have one. There's a difference between hanging a car up on the wall in your bedroom out of a magazine saying one day I'm going to save up enough money to buy that and fantasize about fucking a famous movie star. Eventually you could buy the car. With a bit of luck, maybe you fuck the movie star, but at least you get one of the goddamn two. And it was fun to think about it either way, so why not?
Dispensing it is a way of fishing the past from the disposal, wiping it off, painting over the other way. Advice, but be patient with those who supply it. Advice is a form of nostalgia. Dispensing it is a way of fishing the past from the disposal, wiping it off, painting over the ugly parts, and recycling it for more than it's worth. But trust me on the sunscreen.
You know what's crazy though? That's the sad part of this is that most people will never see this, or I think a lot of people that will see it will never like just understand it because, like I said, they look at it as in terms of what's this? This is corny. Like, who's this talking? Do you know what I mean? There's no respect. Like, even in that it says respect your elders, but I could see people watching that and just be like, who's this fool? Do you know what I mean? And I just think we're too far gone in a lot of ways for people to fully appreciate what that would have done when it first came out. I think there'd be a lot of people that would see it now and be like, it'd wake them up and it'd make them change. But I think there's so many people out there that just will clap on it. The fuck?
That was my fault. I hit my phone with my finger while you were talking because I went to unmute myself. But yeah, you're right, dude. I don't think this did anywhere near the amount of good it could have done. But that's the way that it works, though, isn't it? I mean, I don't like Shakespeare, right? I have no interest in any of that nonsense whatsoever. I love the idea of theater and Broadway. I think it's a staple of entertainment and it needs to exist. I don't have any desire to watch it or create it, but still, I mean,
no, I think you're right. I think you're right. I just think because I get so passionate about it, I want as many people as possible to have that positive, optimistic view of it if they come across it. But like I get what you're saying. Like it's people's choice, isn't it? I just like
it's that you got the problem is, dude, with positivity. Here's the issue. Honestly, from a negative person, if I could elaborate here. I don't know about everybody else in the world, but I can tell you personally, for me, positivity is a lot like being broke, dude. It's a mind state, and you can only get there. You can't wake up one day and decide, today's a day I'm going to be positive. You have to work towards being positive every single day. It's not something you do one day and not the next day. And I think it's also something that you have to arrive at. You have to work at it. It's not something like you can give me the best advice in the fucking world, dude, and the most life changing shit. But if I'm not ready for that information, what good is it? And I think that's the biggest problem with emotions like this, especially because negativity and positivity are such extremes of one another. But when any person, it doesn't matter rich, poor, black, white, Spanish, Asian, any person that is in the extreme throes of either of those emotions is almost impossible to reach. Almost impossible.
I was meant to say earlier as well when you first started that, like, some people just aren't meant to, I would say wake up, but it's just not for everybody, and I get that. Like,
because you can't, dude. It's a scary truth that comes along with reality that a lot of people don't. Look, man, some people don't want to know how the hot dogs are made, and I understand that. I understand it. I can look at the ingredients on paper, but I don't want to walk to the factory. You know what I mean? There's just I need a little bit of information, but not to be overwhelmed. But I mean, honestly, dude, you're right. For some people, there was a really interesting conversation about this on the Broad Street Breakdown, which is Vinny Paz's podcast. He does with a couple of his friends. They talked about self-awareness in the beginning of their podcast, and this was a few years ago, so I don't know what the episode number is, but they were talking about, and we'll end with this because I know we got to restart in an hour, but they were talking about self-awareness, and they used the example of a guy that works in a Cinnabon at the airport versus a Vinny Paz. Guy that works in the airport gets up every day, puts his fucking apron on, goes to the airport and serves out cinnamon buns all day with a smile on his face. He's just happy to exist. Sure, he's in an airport and it sucks and it's terrible, but he gets to meet, look at the positive end of his life. He gets to meet a different person every day. Maybe even see the same people a certain time of the month every month, so you build relationships, right? But Vinny Paz is walking through the airport and he looks at the Cinnabon guy and he says, how could Cinnabon guy be so happy when he's in such a small area? Cinnabon guy doesn't look at the life the way that Vinny Paz does, but Vinny Paz can also be depressed while he's about to travel to fucking Finland from Philadelphia, and he's depressed because he has to leave Philly. He don't, like, anybody else would kill to be in that position, but you just have to. And they had that conversation of, is it better to be self-aware and know you're living in a shit situation, but be aware enough to be able to improve it and just live along the baseline of whatever you can? Or is it better to be a dummy and just drool your way through life? And I think the answer that they all came upon, and myself included, is that there are days that I would choose to be a drooling dummy and not have any of the information that I have in my mind. But in actuality, knowledge is power, heavy lies the crown, right? So I would rather be self-aware and have bad days where I wish I wasn't than never have the knowledge and float through life of not knowing that there could be something better for me.
And just to finish off before we go, like, there's a lot of celebrities I've heard in interviews and stuff say that, yes, they feel grateful for the position they're in, but sometimes they wish they could be that smaller person in terms of, like, having a normal job or whatever, because they can't go out and do normal things anymore because of the harassment and the paparazzi and all that. So at times where I've got caught in, like, oh, I want to be famous, or, like, just for, like, money or whatever, but, like, then I've also thought as well, like, I don't think I would be happy because, like you said, I wouldn't want to have to, like, not be able to go out for a walk or something, or go out with my kids because you get harassed all the time. Like, I wouldn't want that, so I get that as well.
Dude, I just put in the chat, I want you to look up this podcast. It's about a guy named Mark Maron. The reason why I want you to look up, yeah, he had Obama on his podcast, dude. This guy I don't agree with everything he says politically, but I want to put this out there that even though I don't agree with him, I still like his show and I support him and I listen to him like you're supposed to. But anyway, he had on Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio on his podcast, if you could believe it, at the same time. And surprisingly, these two dudes were more fucking normal sounding than I had pictured them in my mind. And they talked about what it was like being so famous and trying to getting fake faces made so they can walk around in public and try to live a regular life without being recognized. But listening to how humble these guys are and how grateful they are to be in the positions that they're in, I walked away from this podcast going, I'm now more happy that I've watched everything that those two men have ever done than I've ever been in my entire life, because they are who I wish they would be. It's one of those times where you hear them talk and you're like, oh, this is fucking beautiful. Like that's what a famous person should be. They're regular guys just like us. So, on the strength of what you were just saying, I highly recommend checking out that podcast episode, even if you only listen to a little bit of it while we're on break. And for everybody else that is listening at home, I'm not sure how we're going to come back and do this, if we're going to pre-record it and then put it out, or if we're going to go back out live through Facebook. But we will be back in about an hour. It's 4:45 Eastern Standard Time in New Jersey. That makes it about
9:45 here.
9:45 England time. So all my friends in the UK and all my friends in America, set your clocks and your calendars, and we will see you in about an hour.
I'll speak to you in a bit.
All right, dude. Appreciate it.